Stop what you are doing because today's episode is for you.
Come on.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Doing Life with Ken and Tabatha. Today we are talking all things leadership. And I know you're a leader. You're a leader somewhere, somehow. You're either a parent, you're either a friend, you're either a boss, a supervisor, you're a church leader.
Someone's watching you.
Somebody's watching. If you're a Christian, you are a leader. You've been called to be a light in a dark place. And we're going to share some leadership principles with you. It's actually one of my favorite things to share on. You know, our podcast is a lot of marriage stuff, a lot of relationship stuff, a lot of parenting stuff, and even the principles that we teach, whether it be about self-love or grace to self, all of those things will really improve your marriage. And so, of course, this podcast is for everybody. It doesn't matter your relationship status, but we love to minister to marriages. But this one here, this is such a broad stroke, and it's really still in our wheelhouse because I love talking leadership.
So since it's leadership, can I not tell you how handsome you look in your hat today?
Well, I mean, let the Lord use you. I'm always open for what you
I like it when you wear hats.
Oh, yeah?
Sometimes you wear a hat and it's a tighter fit, and it reminds me of the college days when we first met. You look good today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And you look good as well.
Thank you, babe.
Beautiful. So, y'all, we are back. We are still doing the podcast. And those of you all who are newer to our show, welcome.
Yes.
We pray, say God send people to the show that really needs it. Those of you all who've been hanging out with us for a while, you guys are the best. We love you. Thank you for your prayers, encouragement, the seeds that you sow. We hope this content continues to bless your life. Every Thursday at 3 p.m. we drop new content. For those of you all who are newer, hit the subscribe button so that you can join the family, all right? Today's episode is what we're calling 5 C's to Leadership, okay? And I want to talk to leaders out here, all right? I want to talk to moms and dads and husbands and wives. I want to talk to supervisors and employers and CEOs and social media influencers. I want to talk to Christians and kingdom builders and pastors and apostles and prophets. I want to talk to leaders, all right? And so how would you define leadership, sweetie?
A leader is someone who leads the way, someone who seeks God to do the right thing.
Okay. I'll give you John Maxwell's definition that I've kind of adopted is leadership is influence. And it's basically someone who influences other people.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's why I say mothers, dads, fathers, uncles, all of us can influence our sphere of influence.
Right.
And so I believe there's a leadership call in every single person. We're not called. Now, we got to be, sometimes the best leaders are the best followers. And I think many times we go to leadership conferences and we read leadership books, but we haven't learned to be great followers. Now, I feel like I'm an okay leader, and I feel like I'm an okay leader, but I think that I'm an incredible follower. And I think that some of the reasons that I'm an okay or good leader is because I really know how to follow, you know? And I believe if you do not know how to follow, you probably won't know how to lead as well. And so both of those things are interchangeable for me. But why do you think leadership is so important?
I think everyone needs someone to follow. Even as believers, we follow Jesus and we follow his example. As children, we follow our parents and people in authority. When you get hired on a job, you have mentors and mentees that show you the ropes. So I don't know. I just think it's important for advancement to get better.
I don't know if it's Craig Rochelle or who it is that says this, but the organization kind of lives and dies based upon leaders. Like when the leader gets better, everybody gets better.
Yes.
And so when you are the leader of a home, a family, when you get better, the family gets better. If you are the leader at a church, when you get better, the church gets better. If you're the leader of a business, when you get better. Years ago, I had a mentor tell me that if you want to grow the church, you got to grow yourself. And many people think that leadership is like born innate. Some people are just born with leadership skills, and I don't believe that. Some people are born with more of an extrovert personality, but sometimes the greatest leaders are not even extroverts.
Yeah.
And so I think that you can be born with certain attributes, but many leadership skills are learned. Like we can actually grow into these skills. And that's why I think it's important also. I think there is a lack of leadership in the church world. And I believe that there's a whole lot of people that are kind of casually coming and casually going. And church is something that they might do if they have time while they lead their life. But I would want any believer to understand this, that you have a call of leadership on the inside of you. And you need to lead inside of that call. So whether it's in the marketplace or inside the church, you've still been called to influence people.
Wow.
And it's so important. And so hopefully these 5 C's of leadership. And so I've been in business. I've been a businessman. I opened up my first business in 1998, 25 years ago. I've been in ministry since 2001, over 20 years. We've been lead pastors over 16 years. My first employee was probably back in 2003. So I've been an employer for over 20 years. So leadership is something that I eat and I breathe, and I want to grow as a leader. I'm not the same leader that I was 5 years ago. Would you agree?
I agree.
I'm not the same leader that I was 5 months ago. Would you agree?
Yes.
Because I am on a trajectory to continue to grow as a leader, and I believe the church and all the things that we do get better when I get better as a leader. So for those leaders who are out there, you're listening to this, we're going to give you today what I call the 5 C's of leadership. This is actually something that I've coined, and I teach this in our leadership school. We have a leadership school here at Alive Church called Alive Leadership Institute. And it's not a theology school. It's not a Bible school, even though we lean into Bible principles. Yes. It is a leadership mentorship program. It is a leadership development program. And what I've learned is that we all need mentorship. We all need someone who's further than us that we can glean from. People are looking for shortcuts to success. Yeah. It's like, well, how can I just look for a shortcut to make money, to real estate investment? People are looking for shortcuts. There's really no such thing as a shortcut other than mentorship. And I can learn from somebody else what took them 5 years. I can get it done in a year if I'm willing to study people that have fruit in their life, to learn what to do, and sometimes more importantly, what not to do. Yeah. That's why a podcast like this is an essential thing, because we're not up here 24 years of opinions. Now, of course, we are opinionated and we give some of that, but at the same time, we're giving you 24 years of experience. So when you grab hold of a podcast, you're being mentored. It might not be like up close mentorship, but it is still mentorship. When you grab hold of a book that someone writes, you have inside of those 265 pages or however long the book is, 30 years of their life. That is a mentorship tool. When a pastor gets on stage and he preaches 40 minutes, people don't know it took me 40 years to build that message. And I'm just now expressing it and articulating it in a certain way. And I just feel like we are in a generation of people that are fatherless, and they are sheep without shepherds. And we are first generation everything because we don't understand what we were supposed to learn from spiritual fathers and from mentors, okay? And so this leadership, so for me, for those of you all who are pastors, business owners, CEOs, in places of leadership, these are the attributes that we look for in leaders. I call them the 5 C's of leadership.
5 C's of leadership.
If you are a person that aspires to be a leader in the church world, in the business world, these are the attributes that you want to develop, because I'm telling you, senior leaders are looking for people who don't just have 1 C, 2 C, 3 C, or 4 C's. We're looking for leaders that have all 5 C's. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
C number 1, 5 C's of leadership: calling. Okay, calling. And of course, this is going to be ministry specific a little bit more, but also calling, period. Ministry is a calling, not a career. The worst thing that we can do is hire someone where there's just an opportunity for them to make money, because they have such a temptation to become a hireling. I personally do not believe that as church leaders specifically, that people should jump from church to church to church, because there's a better position or there's a better pay. Why?
Right.
1 Corinthians 12 tells us that he sets the members in the body as it pleases him. That brings us into almost like a fork in the road, because what's normal and what's popular is that I'm going to be over here for 3 years, then I'm going to be over here for 4 years, then I'm going to be over here for 5 years. And if we're not careful, we can subconsciously become a hireling, looking for the next best opportunity, looking for the next best pay scale. Yeah. When I really believe your treasure is in the field. I know it's tough. I know that sometimes you feel like, well, I've been here for so many years and I'm not being rewarded. I believe all of our promotion comes from God, and we need leaders that are called, okay? So one of the first things we look for when we're about to promote somebody or hire someone is, are they called? Because if you're not called, when it gets tough, you're going to be telling me your season is up and God is calling you to somewhere else. It's just like when people come and they want to get married and say, well, I'm called to marry so-and-so. God showed me so-and-so in a dream, until it gets tough. And then you're saying, well, God's calling you out of the marriage. No, I want people that are really called, because when warfare break out, we're not going to run if we're called.
Right. And I think also when you're with someone, when you're in a good organization and other people can see that. Other people in other organizations, they can come and recruit you out and call you out. Well, I'll give you more money. I'll give you a bigger platform. I'll do this. You got to know that you're called. Because, all of the bigger pay, the bigger platform, all of that stuff is not always better if that's not what you're called to.
So what we're talking about is consumerism versus calling. Consumerism versus calling. Consumers go to the car lot and they say, hey, I want a brand new Kia. I want it black on the outside, black on the inside. I want it with Bluetooth capability. The dealer comes out and says, we don't have that here. Where do you go? To the next Kia dealership, because you are a consumer. You are only looking to get out of it what you want. In the church world, there is a calling, meaning that I did not call myself to Gainesville, Florida. I did not call myself to Orlando, Florida. And I did not call myself to a live church. God called me here. So just because a church has a better arts program, a better kids program, better buildings, better facilities, I am not going as a consumer. I'm only going based upon a calling.
Wow.
That's important for people to hear, because if not, if you're a part of a church that's a church plant, you'll always compare the church plant to the church that got 5,000 people. I have a friend of mine who has a church in India. He lives on the orphanage with his kids there and runs a church, but he ain't supposed to be nowhere else because he's called there. There are some people that are called to the 5,000 people church. Be faithful in your calling. There are some people that are called to the 12 people startup church. Be faithful in your calling. And quit comparing what you're called to what somebody else is called to.
Amen.
Are you with me today? Calling is important. I got a couple right now that we're thinking about bringing on, and there's been some challenges that they've had to kind of, they say, well, I feel called here, but then they have this challenge and that challenge and another challenge. And the challenges is changing the calling, when actually the calling should actually change the challenges.
Wow, that's
Meaning
good.
that I don't care what family is saying. I don't care how much it costs me. I'm going to do what God's told me to do.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready for that yet, you're not ready for ministry.
Well, I think it even goes out into the secular world with any job. There's a lot of job openings right now, and some people are in really good places. Like, this is where they're supposed to be because it's in the city that they're in. Their kids can go to the school district. Like, everything is sitting right. But then someone from another state, because people need good people now, and they see that you're good at your job. They're recruiting you. They'll give you double the money. They'll give you all of these things, but you got to leave your city. You got to uproot your family. You have to leave your church that you've been called to. And that is kind of like, you have to weigh, is that good? Is that what you should be doing?
Right.
And some people also will jump around from church to church or from business to business, organization to organization, going up the ladder, getting promoted here and there. But then at the end of the day, you don't have the tenure. This person, if you had stayed with the first company, you'd be 10 years in now, ready to take over everything. Right. But now you're with the fifth company, and the person that was there was 10 years, been there 10 years. They're about to get promoted 10 spaces above you, and you could be next if it was just according to title, but because you jumped around, you don't get that top spot ever. I mean, it's just, I don't know. All that glitters isn't gold.
I'll give you one more before we move on to the next C. As a pastor, I'm not looking for people just to be called to our church. I'm looking for them also to be called to me. And that's real high level talk, but I'm talking to high level people today, because there's a lot of people that love Jesus, but they don't love his leadership. They don't love the set people in the house. And you always got to watch. Now, listen to me, pastors. You got to watch for those people. They love Jesus. They will go on the mission field, give the shirt off their back, have flies around their head, but they don't really like you that much. They don't like your style. They don't like your leadership. Those are the people that really can become Judas very, very quickly.
Wow.
And they'll actually use their love of Jesus to stab you in the back. So when we look for people to ordain and to hire and promote, I want your love for Jesus to be equal to your love for his representatives and senior leadership in the house. Woo! Number 2 is competency. Okay. Now, pastors, I'm going to give you these, and you can actually share some of these with your staff. Just give me some credit. No, what you don't even have to give me credit. Give all credit to the Lord. Number 2, competency. All right. Competency is skill. And sometimes we promote people because they have longevity and they've been around for a while, but they don't have skill. And that has always come back to bite us.
Yep.
I love you. I love your heart. You are such a servant. You will show up and stay up all night long, but there's going to be a cap on where you can lead the organization or whatever we put you over if you don't grow hold of the competency. And so we need skilled people, skilled musicians, skilled leaders, skilled managers, skilled graphic people, skilled video workers. And so competency is something that we're looking for.
Yeah. And I think we should actually be real with ourselves and find out what we're good at and get better at it. I think sometimes we're good at things, but we have aspirations because we want to sing. And we're a so-so singer, but we're really, really good with numbers and we're a great accountant.
Right.
And then we waste our whole lives trying to be this glorified singer, and we never amount to that glorified singer in our mind, but we could have been the best accountant this side of Orlando.
Well, there's a principle. You should hire slow but fire fast. And this is a leadership principle for those of you all who are senior leaders. Sometimes we do it the other way around. Hire fast and we fire slow. And when you fire slow, there's a person in your organization that everybody's tiptoeing around. Or they're just working around. Like, so-and-so, she ain't going to do what she's supposed to do. So everybody's going around that person. Yeah. And it's slowing down the efficiency of the production that you guys should be pumping out. So we should be a little slower to hire, but we should be faster to fire. And we're looking for people who have a skill set. And like you said, I like what you said, because you're saying we can grow our skill set.
Yes.
So one of our culture codes here at Alive Church is that we stay in school.
Stay in school.
We look for people that are life learners. We don't look at people who have arrived. I look at people that can get on YouTube and figure it out. Well, I just don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to do. Okay, well, somebody got to figure it out. I remember when we first started this church, you were the graphics department.
Yes, sir.
You did the bulletins. You did the finances. You counted the money. You have no accounting background. You don't have a graphic background per se, but you just would figure it out. And anybody who starts a business, there's some grunt work that you got to do until it gets up to a certain level, and you just got to go figure it out. You have to increase your competency. Okay. Number 3, the third C would be chemistry. Everybody say chemistry.
Chemistry.
And chemistry is so important because it is the ability to work with other people below you, people above you, people around you. Okay. The church is glorious. Jesus is coming back for a church that's glorious, filled with people from different backgrounds and different ethnicities and different education levels and different opinions. And one of the number one things that you need is to hire and promote people that get along with each other. And you can take somebody who has crazy skill. I mean, they know they stuff and they even feel called, but nobody likes to be around them. You can't bring that person on. They will completely destroy the environment. And so we need chemistry.
Absolutely. And I think if you're someone who is looking to be a part of a staff, a part of an organization, find out what you need to do to be able to, work well with other people, not to get offended, people don't want to feel like they're walking on eggshells around you, or like they can't just come through the front door and say something because they're going to hurt your feelings or you're going to get angry. Be easy to be around.
Yeah. Be the person. There's one guy named Freeman that's a part of our staff, and he's been with us. He's a son of the house, been here for many years. But whatever environment he's in, he just brings an amount of joy.
Yeah.
We say, is there any jokes? He always has a corny joke. He always has something. He always brings a level of joy. And it's not because his job is easy.
Right.
He just is going to infect the environment with something that's positive. And I just believe that if people really knew what employers were looking for, you're looking for somebody. We don't want know-it-alls.
Right.
We don't want people that, oh my God, we have to go and have 25 meetings to get you to buy in. We're saying, hey, we want to go this direction. Well, I don't know if I agree with that, and I think this and I think that. And I understand that as a leader, you do have to try to lay out vision in order to get people buy-in, but some of it's completely ridiculous. It's almost like you're just fighting with the people that you've hired. You're fighting with the people that you've promoted, and nobody's looking for that. So you want to be the kind of person that is just easy to get along. Like when you come in a room, and I'm not saying that you can't be a person that makes decisions, because if you are a great leader, you're going to have people who don't like you. If everybody always loves you, it's probably because you're not really leading.
Right.
Because great leaders have to make decisions that are not always popular. Great leaders have to make decisions based upon what they see and they have oversight and also foresight, and everybody else has hindsight sometimes, and they don't see it yet. You have to be willing to ruffle feathers and to do things that other people will not do.
Right.
But at the same time, there is a persona and this swag that you have that you can be a great person to your boss. Like, you know how to make them shine and make them look good.
Yeah.
And the people that are under you, you know how to give them confidence and not micromanage, but delegate appropriately. And the people that are beside you treat you like a friend. When you find somebody that really understands chemistry, you got yourself a winner. Anything else on that?
No, that's good.
All right. Also, number 4 is character.
Yeah.
And this is huge, because character is integrity. And so if you're a person that you want to be a leader, we're not looking for people that just have crazy charisma, gifting. There's a lot of people, especially in the church world, that they have gifting that will take them to a place their character can't keep them.
Yeah.
Now, for me, this is big for me. You cut me, I bleed character and integrity. I'm not really into, I'm trying to build a platform, or I need a certain amount of numbers. Maybe I was like that in my 20s. God had to squeeze that out of me years ago. I am not doing this for the applause of men. I'm doing this for the applause of the one that gave me the call. I want to hear him say, well done. I look for people who have impeccable integrity, keep their word,
Yes.
timely, trustworthy, loyal, covenant-minded, live holy, live beyond the gray. But what I found out is that there are many people, especially in the creative world, you can sing, you can play an instrument, you're a gifted writer. Sometimes people will turn a blind eye to your lack of character, and they're actually messing you up, because it's only character that will keep you in the end. We have all seen pastors, because of their gifting, be elevated to a place, and then everything come falling down because they did not have character.
Wow.
And as a leader, I don't care if you're in the secular arena, you're a marketplace. If you are a follower of Jesus, you owe it to yourself to develop strong character. When we are in the business world, dealing with banks, dealing with politicians, people should be able to know that we're a Christian, not even by what we say, but just how we live. I don't need to cut corners. My promotion doesn't come from man. My promotion comes from God. What do you think about character?
I just think you're preaching real good. I think when I think about people with character, I think of people who do what they say. I know there's a lot of people, even being a pastor and a leader for so many years, some people will come up and just say all good things, and they give you a lot of ear candy. And I don't know, I think I've developed to the point now where I love the person, but sometimes I know that this is like, I don't know, this might be a lot of fluff
Ear
and
candy.
stuff like it's ear candy.
Ear candy.
Like where you're just saying a lot of stuff that sounds good and looks good, but I don't know at the end of the day if you're backing up what you say.
Right, right.
And I need to be able to trust that you're going to do what you say.
Come on.
I just need to be able to trust your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I need to be able to trust your judgment. And all of that, you know, comes and goes sometimes with character.
Well, my pastor used to always say that you are who you really are in the unsupervised arenas of your life. And I think many times we can play the church role or play the success role, but only you and God really know what's going on in your heart. But what's done in the secret will come to the light. And I don't know, I'm looking for community leaders that got character. I'm looking for coaches that got character, government officials that got character. I don't want to vote for people who have questionable character and questionable ethics. I don't want those people ordained in our church. Yes, you're gifted. You can preach. You can prophesy over everybody, call out their social security numbers. But can you tell the truth all the time and not lie? I just feel like character is huge.
It is.
I want to know that you can be faithful to your spouse 50 years, 60 years. You know what I mean?
Character to me is like having a good foundation. If you don't have character, it's like you're this beautiful mansion.
Right.
I mean, it's built beautifully, state of the art appliances and the best materials and the best furniture decked out. I mean, people are looking at your property.
Yeah.
But character, if the character is faulty, it's built on a faulty foundation, that whole house will come down.
Wow. So true.
We have to have good character.
Oh, man, this is crazy. I'll give you the last one. Number 5 is commitment. And it's what I call the 5 C's of leadership. We are looking for people who understand commitment. There's no diet that you go on that you will be successful unless you have commitment. There's like no gym regiment that you can go on that you're going to get the desired results without commitment.
Right.
And when it comes to the work of the Lord, when it comes to building business, when it comes to building a marriage and a family, you're going to have to be a person who is committed. So one of the qualities that I look for in leadership are people who understand covenant relationships. What I mean by that are relationships that have been ordained by God. So the husband and wife relationship, what God has brought together, let no man put asunder. And this is why calling is so important. When people come to a church, the hope is that you're not just there because your friend brought you or that you heard it on the radio. You felt that the Holy Spirit used your friend or the radio to get you there. And then when you're there, at some point you have to realize, is this a covenant relationship? Well, if God has brought you together, if he says, where I place the members in the body as it pleases me, it's not on the same level as husband and wife, but it's still a covenant relationship. And a covenant relationship is not a relationship that you get into easily, and it should not be a relationship that you get out of easily. And I just feel like many people do not have a revelation on the commitment that's needed to build anything of value. And as soon as they're not preferred, or they don't get their way, or it's just been too long, or it's not on their time frame, they're gone. And we actually can see that years before it even comes. That's why there's some people that you just don't put your hands on yet, because you can see that it's just not, the commitment's not there. The understanding of covenant is not there. The loyalty, the toughness that you need to be able to endure. And so my hope is to raise up a church full of people. This is what I feel. There are seasons in the church world. And sometimes God will have you at a place for a season and then have you at a place for another season. We haven't been at the same church all of our life. My first 18 years, I was at New Hope Baptist in West Virginia. Then I went to college, and we was kind of not really going to church here and there. Then I went to Washington, D.C. You joined a church without me. The next week, I found another church. I was there 7 years, and then we've been pastors of the church for 16 years.
Yes.
I had an 18-year season, some church hopping, a 7-year season, and a 16-year season. And I'm not saying that that is the standard, but I know that I never left the church because I didn't like something, because I didn't come there because I did like something. I came to the church because God called me there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to leave the church because they ain't used me. They ain't used me fast enough. They didn't let me sing a song, so forth and so on. I didn't come because I like something. I'm not leaving because I don't like something. I came because of a calling. I'm leaving because of a calling. And I just believe that many people are using this, well, my season's up, and you was there 2 years. And then you had a 1-year season over here and a 6-month season over here and a 5-year season. And I just want you to know you need to re-examine that, because I am not buying it, you know. And I do understand that there's different seasons, different reasons, different things. And so I want to give people grace, because the last thing I want you to do is be in a place where the grace has shifted and the glory cloud is no longer there. So we do have grace to be able to hear from God and make adjustments. But at the same time, if you are called to be a leader, my hope is to raise up a church that in 20 years, there will be people around me like, oh yeah, I got baptized here, and then we baptized my kids here, and then we baptized our great grandkids here, our you know what I'm saying, our grandkids here. Yeah, I've been a part of this church for 25 years. I remember when we just had one campus, and now we got 10 campuses. I believe that there is something in the longevity that is being stolen from a microwave generation. When I look at my dad, he's been a part of the same church for 56 years, and he was just ordained a deacon week before last.
Wow.
He was the superintendent of the Sunday school. He drove the bus to pick up the elderly. This was his church for 56 years. he was faithful to it, and just now was ordained as a deacon because he don't need the title. He wasn't there because what he liked. He went through 5 or 6 pastors. He was on the pastoral search committee.
Wow.
He wasn't there because he liked this person's preaching, but not this person as much.
Yeah.
He was there when the church got flooded, and the church, they went through all kinds. He was there because God called him there. And I just think there's something beautiful of longevity, just like I think it's something beautiful of when the 90-year-old man is holding his hands of his wife who's 88 and they've been married 60 years. I just think it's something about those battles that we've been through together, that we had enough commitment in our hearts to be through the ups, the downs, the good and the bad. And I'm asking God, surround me around people like that.
Amen.
People that are committed.
I just thought that the picture that you should have is the wife that's 93 and the husband that's 91, and they're walking hand to hand, because that would properly describe you and I.
I can dig it. I can dig it. I can see that for us. I can see that for us. So for those of you all who are newer leaders, you're aspiring leaders, you say, Pastor Ken, what have you cut your teeth on? It would be stories like Elijah and Elisha. The story is that Elijah throws his cloak upon Elisha, and the Bible says that he went and he destroyed his oxen. That means he destroyed his career and his money-making opportunities. He kissed his father and mother, meaning that he left his natural family, and he followed Elijah. And historians will say for about 13 years, he followed Elijah, and he served him faithfully. And then he says, what do you want before I leave? He says, I want a double portion of your spirit. And he says, that's a hard thing, but if you see me when I go, it'll be yours. And so he says, I'm going over to Jericho, you stay here. He says, no, wherever you go, I go. Commitment. He says, no, stay right here. I'm going over here. He says, no, wherever you go, I go. Commitment. And I think it happened 3 times, but you can see the covenant-mindedness of Elisha. Everybody wants the double portion, but not many people are committed enough to really walk in it. And when I look at that story, I say, if I am an Elijah, I want to be able to raise up a company of Elishas that do double the miracles that I've done, because the student is never greater than the teacher, but the student shall be like his teacher. And I really believe that students, great spiritual fathering is when your sons and daughters go further than what you have. And I am rooting on people that look at us as their mentors, their pastors. I want you to go further, faster than we ever have.
Yes.
But please don't forget the principles. Wherever you go, I go. I see it through the Bible, Naomi and Ruth. She's like, your people be my people and your God be my God. Where you go is where I go.
Yeah.
There was a level of commitment, and I'm not saying that it has to be to the same degree, but doggone it, we need more of it in the church.
Commitment.
We call these our 5 C's of leadership. If you are a pastor or a high-level leader, share these with your staff and your team. If you are an aspiring leader, start to develop these. You say, Pastor Ken, what is the most important one of the 5? What do you think the most important one is?
What was the first one?
Calling, chemistry.
The last one was commitment. There was character.
And then it was commitment, calling, character, chemistry. Something else.
I don't know. I feel like character is the most... They're kind of equal, because you don't want to have one without the other. But character, let's start there.
Yeah, it's a trick question, because those all 5 C's, you need all 5 of them.
I know.
On a scale of 1 to 10, we're looking for people that are like 8s or 9s on every single one of them. If you drop below that, you can have character, you can have all this stuff, but you can't get along with people, can't use you. You can have character and chemistry, but you don't know if you're really called here, can't use you. You can have all these things, but not be committed, can't use you. You need to have all 5 C's.
This is a great self-assessment tool for, like those yearly evaluations as a leader, as a boss, you just give this to your team. Yeah. Hey, evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you with character? Yeah. Where are you with commitment?
Yeah.
And then have conversations. Help them get to at least an 8.
Right. Competency.
Competency.
Yeah, where are you in your skill level? Do you really know how to gather people?
Right.
Do you really know how to build teams? Why or why not?
Right.
You've had 5 people for 5 years. Why is that?
And
what books have you read?
What you should do as a leader, and what I will do, what I know that you do, is that we will go to these 5 C's on our own. We're not going to have our boss come and tell us. I'm not going to wait for somebody to come and tell me. I'm going to evaluate myself on my own and say, what do I have to do to be at least an 8 in every category?
I look forward to the day that people come to me and say, Pastor Ken, I'm a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10 on all 5 C's, and this is why. Let's
Come
start with them.
on.
Hey, I got competency. This is why. I got chemistry, and this is why. I got character, and this is why. And I say, yes, Daniel's son. Young Jedi, you are strong. The force is strong with this one.
The force is strong with this one.
We want you to be everything God's called you to be. We know that there's leadership on the inside of you. Take these 5 C's, the leadership, and run with them. Share them with everybody that you can. We're out of time for today, but thank you so much for tuning in to Doing Life with Ken and Tabatha. I know today was a little bit different, but we wanted to take you higher.
Yeah.
And I feel like we did that on today. If you're newer to our broadcast, hit the subscribe button. We release a new show every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We would love for you to write a review. If this has been a blessing for you, let us know.
Yes.
This is a time of generosity. If you want to sow into this ministry, it will enable us to change more lives. You can find more information about how to do that in the show notes below.
Absolutely. And if you're ever here in the Orlando area, stop by and see us here at Alive Church. We'd love to see you coming.
Amen. Hey, until next Thursday, we'll see you then. God bless you. Have a great week. Peace.